Hey everybody, I'm Mike Escamilla, and today's guest is Matt Hoffman, one of my close friends and the greatest BMX bike rider to ever live. He has put his body through more punishment than anyone I've ever known, all in the quest to see what's possible, right here on Keep Bleeding.
Who's the master?
Matt, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I can't believe we're starting.
Yes, we're starting. We're doing this. Thank you for being on today. When I started thinking who I was going to have on the show, your name was pretty much the first one. One, because I know so much about you. Two, because your stories are absurd. And I was going to say three, because of your looks, but that's clearly not true. Matt, I really want to go back a little bit so people have an idea who you are. How did you get started riding bikes?
Well, I really got into motorcycles because I had a cousin that rode motorcycles, and so he'd bring me to the track, and I learned, basically started doing motocross. I saw people jumping, and that's what attracted to me. It was just getting air, and so I was that kid that all the parents would yell at going across the finish line because I was like jumping as high as I could on everything. Everybody was trying to keep low. And then I started doing enduro, and that was fun, but I like to jump more. And then I saw a sport that just totally evolved around jumping. And I was like, oh, that's what I need to do. And so I sold my motorcycle and got a bicycle and just started trying to jump stuff.
Worked out. At what point did you turn pro? Because you were pro at 15, is that right, or 14?
I think it was 88, maybe a week or two before I turned 16, because they had that contest in Anaheim. They did like a King of Vert amateur contest, and then they did a pro contest right after. And so I rode the amateur contest so I could win that title. And then
you won. And you won.
Yeah, then I won that, and then I decided to ride my first pro contest.
And you won that.
And I won that, yeah.
Did you win high air there too?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
I guess that's a lot of winning to remember.
Yeah.
The thing I really love about your story is that most people who are dealing with their passion and things they want to do have a lot of adversity brought on by outside forces. And your adversity, for as long as I've known you, has all been brought on by yourself. Of all the people that I know and all the athletes I know, you're the one who has had so many serious injuries, and they're not a testament to your skill level, but for me, and I think everyone around you, they're a testament to your drive to push the sport in a direction that no one saw possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you have to accept that early on in this sport, is that it's part of the game. If you're gonna do it, it's not if you're gonna get hurt, it's when you're gonna get hurt. It was amazing because it's like most sports, you can push the limits, but in our sport, there was no limits. We made all the limits. It was all really completely in our heads, and it was up to our imagination and, how we could dream. And so I just thought anything's possible. And my best teacher is really failure. And so I just would keep pushing things, and I would be like, oh, wait, I had to get punched in the face to learn that one. I won't forget that one, and I sometimes feel like I might hate myself because I beat myself up on so much and I keep doing it. But I love that I can go outside right now, nobody's around, and I can just completely make my mood better by pushing it. Whether I crash or I could show you a little something like, okay, I finished a session and then I'm jumping from the vert ramp into the mini to go back up the hill to my house. And then I forgot that it was a really bad windstorm the night before, and it blew this ladder over on top of the mini ramp, and it was hanging over the lip of the coping. The top of this ladder got broke off, and so it was this all jagged aluminum. And so let me see if it's happened like 2 days ago, but I might.
Here we go.
I might-
Yeah, this is probably the most dangerous thing you're going to do this whole show.
So can you see? Yeah, it's like that right there.
Oh, what happened?
That was like it's all bruised too. But that was from a ladder that I thought I was going to cut my leg off. I guess the moral of this story is it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm going to get hurt. It's part of my life. So the session was over. All my hard stuff was complete, and I almost killed myself.
I'm listening to this story, and it feels like I've heard this 1,000 times before. BMX was huge in the 80s, and in the 90s it died, and then the X Games came around. You were bike riding's biggest star in 1995, and were you kicked out of the X Games?
Yeah, twice.
How did they end up kicking? That's like kicking Tony Hawk out of the 1995 skateboard vert X Games. How did that happen?
The first X Games, everybody was just trying to get to know each other. It was a big production crew, getting to know a lot of eccentric kind of subculture athletes, and there's a bit of friction. How I got kicked out is when they first made 2 ramps, and one was for bike riding, one was for skateboarding. The bike ramp, they painted it blue, but they put sand in the paint so that we wouldn't slip. Which I did a backflip fakie on it, and I landed it, and I just pulled it perfectly, and I was like, wow, maybe this works. And then I did double toe up in practice, and then I missed the double toe up, and I just went to my knees and just stuck like it was glue and just face smashed. And I was like, oh yeah, you can't crash on this ramp because it's like crashing on grip tape. I went over and I think Mike Frazier was riding the skateboard ramp, and I was like, hey, is it cool if I just ride this ramp with you guys? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I started riding that ramp, and I was like, oh, I think this definitely be better to ride this ramp for the contest than the other ramp. And they got mad at me because I was on that ramp, and one of the guys, he kind of tried to come on the ramp to get me off, and then I kind of did airs around him, and that didn't make him any happier. And so I probably antagonized it a little bit, and then he escorted me out. I came back in, and then Dennis was doing the dirt jumps, and I forget maybe it was a backflip or something, but he knocked himself out. Parody,
who's his wife?
Parody, his wife, was trying to get to him, and I know how important it is to hear familiar voices when you're coming conscious. And she didn't have the right credentials, so I took my credentials off and gave it to her. That same guy that already kind of had a beef with me grabbed me and threw me out again. And so then Ron Simio and Jack Wienert, they contacted me,
and they're the creators of the X Games, correct?
Yeah, Ron Simio, he was the first person that created the whole idea of the X Games. And so they flew out to meet with me. They're very passionate people, and so I could really relate and identify with that passion. And so I was like, yeah, I could. This would be a good group of people to work with. And
then you've basically brought X Games to the world through bike riding.
We got a bridge that brought our sport to the living room of millions of people.
It's funny that you being a jerk at the X Games actually got you the job at the X Games. That's great. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Keep Leading.
Hey, I'm Dusty Weigel, and you may or may not recognize me from a little thing called Nitrous Circus. If not, don't sweat it. I'm just here to give you all the information you need about your first attempt at land boogie boarding. First thing you want to do is get yourself a boogie board, some duct tape, and some wheels. Attach those wheels to that boogie board, and then take your butt up to the top of the biggest freaking ramp you can find, preferably a mega ramp. Trust me, you're going to need all the time you can get. Next thing you're going to do is decide what trick you want to do. This one is going to be called the 360 shove it to stump. One thing you need to know about land boogie boarding is you can't steer them. It's more like gator wrestling at about 40 miles an hour. So you better point it exactly where you want to go. If you're a little off, well, sorry, it's not going to go well for you. So make sure you point in the right direction, lay on top of that thing, and hurtle yourself like a friggin' ballistic missile at the takeoff. Once you're actually in the air, what you want to do is take that boogie board and spin it all the way around like you're driving a big old school bus. Point it right back straight and try to throw it into your feet. This all sounds really simple. Well, I thought so too, and I've been trying it for 10 years now. And let's just say the success rate ain't that high. But you seem like the pioneering type, buddy, so go on, get out there. You got this, bro.